Hello, everybody. I see there's already some folks in the chat. Welcome. Several of you were with me earlier, and Blake, as we were watching the 30th anniversary League of Non-Aligned podcast discussion that Jessi, Nicole, and I were on with a whole bunch of other guys. And now we are here to once again celebrate the 30th birthday of B5 and just kind of have a Q&A with all of you. So go ahead and start putting your questions in the chat. And I think while we're waiting for folks to start queuing up questions, the newbies, you guys have been, some of you at least, been rewatching season 1 since we're now in season 2. So how about you all kind of talk about what you've learned in this past 7 or 8 months of rewatching or watching for the first time Babylon 5?
The Gathering is character building 101. It is 100% like just all of the stuff that I want to know about the characters. And it was kind of funny just to rewatch it, and you put pieces together and you're like, oh, I know what happened there, and oh, I know what happened there. So it's kind of cool to go back and watch it and know what was happening.
Now, Jessi, if we took that comment and went back to our very first recording on The Gathering,
It wouldn't be the same.
Oh my gosh! For some kind of end of the series show, we need to go back and do clips from the beginning and then clips from the end. Like that'd be hilarious.
You can go ahead and find those clips. That's a lot
you
of
got all the files.
I was questioning life choices at that point the first time we watched it. Like I was like, who? This is weird, and I don't. Whose idea was this?
David says famous last words. So that means they're hearing us too, which is positive. Jessi and Nicole's not here, but when Jessi and Nicole left the conversation yesterday with the other shows, one of the questions that we talked about in the spoiler section was, what are some of the recurring characters that in a rewatch we have learned to like that we didn't like before? And I said, we're not far enough along to get into a lot of recurring characters yet. But the one thing I was shocked by was how many of you were utterly pissed off that Takashima did not make it into Midnight on the Firing Line. Yeah. And the other first ones also are like, wow, that's interesting.
I almost quit.
I know. I flat out said that. I said that on the show, Jessi. I was like, Jessi almost quit on us over Takashima.
I was watching her today. She was dope. Like she was a good actress and good character. And yeah, I'm kind of sad. Her and Lita.
I didn't like Lita.
Lita was kind of her own work of art.
Work of art.
I didn't really miss her as much either. I did when Takashima got up on the screen. I was like, oh, miss you.
We had to pour out 3 different glasses from The Gathering. We lost Dr. Kyle, Takashima, and Lita. So Aces of Diamonds actually says, I literally was listening to your first episode just now, and when I saw that you had gone live, I clicked over. So it's a little bit different, Ace, between July when we recorded that and now. That's for sure.
Was it back in July? Has it really been that long?
We record because we released in August, but we recorded several episodes in July before we started being.
Can we just pause for a second?
Yes, Uncle Sam. What do you got?
And acknowledge that. Let's not rewrite history too much. The Gathering is still not great. I mean, on rewatch, there were still a million problems and a million issues.
Yeah.
However,
John wasn't on that episode either, so.
No, and I think it's good, and I think listeners now will probably be appreciative of me not being on some of those first season episodes, maybe even now some second season episodes. And I am going back to Ireland, so I will miss 1 or 2 recordings. So look out, Europe.
And the peasants rejoice.
You can wear that outfit over there.
Yes, please do.
I might, but I will say, the view I had of Londo this time watching it was significantly different than the view I had the very first time. His actions in The Gathering and things he said, and they had a whole different context.
They make a lot more sense now.
So we haven't recorded Acts of Sacrifice yet. That's going to be our recording on Sunday. Have you guys all watched Acts of Sacrifice? Okay, well, this is not really a spoiler, I promise, Jessi. John, have you noticed Londo's costume change?
Yes. It was something I also noticed in this, the gathering obviously is different, but I did notice his costume change. I noticed his disposition change.
He's
and
the
who
man
can't
in
relate to
black.
being lonely and wanting friends? I mean,
yeah, that scene is rough, but he's now the man in black, which, I mentioned when I showed you guys this toy a while back that it was a spoiler. Well, now you know. He's wearing all black, guys. Londo has gone off the deep end.
And his hair is a lot bigger in the gathering than I think it is now.
Yeah, they redid the hair. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, look at
Jakar looks different. Yeah, Jakar's way different.
I was like, yeah,
I'm
of
glad
course
they
Delenn,
changed
but
her though. Looking back and rewatching it, I'm like, man, she kind of looks like the Krill from the Orville in The Gathering.
She's rough. I used to think that like she looked better the way that she was, and now that I've gotten used to her with like hair, I much prefer her the way she is now.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, she still looks good, Minbari, but
but not Gathering.
Yeah, not Gathering.
Right,
Gathering Minbari looks like.
Yeah.
Did you see Prometheus?
And rewatch.
Yeah,
the alien
one of the
movie?
engineers.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought she looked like an engineer. It was creeping me. It was creeping me out. In fact, when I first saw her before she opened her mouth, I thought, was Delenn a dude in the Gathering, and I missed it, and they recast the role?
Yes.
Well,
Well, not a dude.
But I mean, like,
yeah,
Mira
Dylan
Furlan.
was- Yeah, no, it was still Mira, but yeah, John, we had this conversation. I don't know if you had, gotten on the show yet at that point. I mean, obviously you were on the show, but you had missed the first episode. Is the original plan for Delenn was that she was going to transition genders. And so the reason why they decided not to do that and they went with the transition from Minbari to hybrid is the makeup didn't work and Mira couldn't pull off an androgynous voice. So,
And some of her mannerisms in The Gathering were just weird. Like when she hands him the basically USB drive with information.
So much more aggressive.
well, that's what she was going for. She was, and she had her little behind the wall ring set, like she was the
ring.
Baron. Yeah, like she was the Mandarin waving around those rings. So
Four gravities.
So
yeah, that's still weird. That was weird the first time. It's even weirder now.
So does Jakar? Here's a question. I know it's not a question segment. That's why I like to ask him. Does he still have the gills? I forgot about that.
I don't know. I don't know if we ever see it again. Doesn't mean he doesn't have them. I just don't remember if we ever see them again.
I don't remember seeing him when he's in the robe.
No, I don't know.
I feel like if they were going to show up, that would be the scene where there isn't like.
I will say, and you guys have already noticed this. I mean, obviously, Nagrath has gone the way of the dodo, but also that set, and the reason why is JMS hated that set. The alien sector, because he said the lighting never worked right. Just the set itself it looked to him like it was a cheap set. So that's why you haven't seen Alien Sector in season 2.
It was there was quite a bit of some of the tech differences. I forgot about how cheesy those, I guess we'll call them rifles were, and those other guns.
Well, I mean, again, it was one of those where PTEN was a brand new network, and they didn't know if they had the faith in that show to make it a full series, so they gave them enough to make a pilot, but it was a shoestring. He points out in his autobiography that at the same time, obviously, Deep Space Nine was happening at the same time. Emissary dropped in January of 93, and The Gathering dropped in February, so they were filming about the same time. And Emissary's budget, a 2-part episode, was around $6 million. Babylon 5, The Gathering's budget was about $400,000. So I like Emissary too.
I did watching it on Tubi. I did see, you said PTEN? Mm-hmm. I saw that at it was like a PTN special broadcast or whatever, which I don't remember seeing.
That was TNT. What you saw was TNT special broadcast. And the reason was, and we will definitely get into more depth on this, and it has nothing to do with the actual story of the show, but in season 5, TNT took over broadcasting rights. So what they did... Blake,
it may have PTE in there, Scott, because
I think it's the
when
version.
when I've watched it on my Apple TV version,
does it say PTE?
It's actually in the credits.
Okay, but I think what he's saying though is the title. It says TNT presents The Gathering.
No, but it said PTEN.
Okay.
Babylon presents Babylon 5.
There's
together.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's the opening credits of
cool.
it is Babylon 5 presented by PTE.
Nice.
That's on the Apple version.
Well,
Okay.
the version we get on the movie discs actually says TNT presents The Gathering of Babylon 5 movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
if it's out in the movie collection, it's TNT. If it's part of the series collection, it still says PTEN.
And then there's the other version that
questions from our listeners.
Oh yeah, there's only a couple. I'll get to them in just a second. But there's chill out, Emily. Chill out.
I'm trying to keep us on track.
But there's of course, you guys, none of you, I think, have seen the original The Gathering. I know Mike did, and that was a conversation we had in our original show. The original Gathering, Takashima's voice was dubbed over because they felt that she was too aggressive. And also, it had a completely different soundtrack. It was techno.
Oh.
So Lewis, since Emily yelled at me, Lewis says, remember that we're going to be surprised. You're going to be surprised even still. Wink face. You think you get to it figured out, and a few episodes later, you'll see that you took the wrong track. Okay, I'm going to start over. English is good. Remember that you're going to be surprised even still. You think you got it figured out, and a few episodes later, you'll see that you took the wrong track and go, wow. Yeah, you're right. Justin is wrong quite a bit. You are correct in that. It's not just Justin.
It is what it is.
We all are.
Let's see. Ace of Diamonds says, well, B5 is a little different from The Gathering to mid-season 2. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. You know, our friends over at B5 for the first time have been really dogging on season 2, but I think for the most part, I think you guys would agree, and tell me if I'm wrong, that season 2 is a step up from season 1.
It's way better. Way better.
For sure.
Brent and Jeff would disagree.
The bad episodes are not as bad as they were. Like, the bad episodes in season 1 were like, this is rough. Like, and the ones in season 2 are just like, I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
Although I'd be curious, Jessi, is now to have you go back and watch some of those from season 1.
Yeah.
If you would still think they're bad, because you had a lot of this was bullshit going on from the changes from The Gathering over.
Yeah.
And so I'd be really curious to see what you would think of it now.
Yeah. It took me a while.
And David,
rewatching Infection was interesting.
Well, now we have.
I'm not saying they're all going to get better.
Yeah. But I will say there is one part of it. There's one part of it.
No, I went back and rewatched Infection. It's like top tier.
Okay. Thanks, Andrew. There's one point of Infection. Once you get through the whole series, and I'm not going to say what it is, once you get through the whole series and you watch Infection again, you're going to be like, oh, it's still not a good episode. But there's a little bit of an Easter egg that you guys don't understand.
Shit.
You're going to have to watch it all over again.
My beer spill.
Oh, wow. Mute yourself, sir.
This is why we can't have Andrew on lives. Okay. So David says, what you newbies didn't know is that it was a couple of years between the pilot and the series. David, I did tell them that when we went to Midnight in the Firing Line. It was 1 year. So Midnight in the Firing Line aired in 94, and The Gathering aired in 93. And again, it was because PTN did not know if they wanted to go forward with a series. The other thing that I didn't talk about, meta-wise, and this is where I get myself in trouble, because there's no true evidence that this is the case. But JMS has said it's the case, because he talked to a guy in a chat room forum a while back. Seriously, that's where this evidence comes from. There was a rumor going around that Paramount, and which was obviously D Space Nine, was trying to get Warner Brothers, PTEN, to not air The Gathering. And there was some work going on for almost a year to try to work out a deal where they would kill Babylon 5. And so that is why JMS feels it took a year to get from the pilot to the show. I will say again, and this is my personal opinion, the only evidence JMS has of that is some dude on a forum on the IO9 website. So read into that as you will. Let's see. Catherine says, talking about costume changes, looking shabby, John.
Shabby.
I think she says not too shabby, but she said looking shabby, John.
No, you had it right the first time.
Yeah, first time's accurate.
I'm not going to listen to you all.
Political candidate.
try to badmouth me. This is a 30th anniversary, and then usually in anniversaries, you dress up in a formal attire to show the proper respect that is
John,
due.
I think you look like a handsome young man in that
Thank
suit.
you, Andrew.
I want everyone. He's not young. I want everyone to know that John feels that is formal attire.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, he's going to tell us he's not a crook.
Right.
Read my lips.
Listen, Emily, I appreciate you, and I thank you for that comment. And
so David says watching The Gathering is like watching the first pilot of Star Trek and saying, who the hell are these people? I agree with that. Who's Captain Pike again? Let's see.
I don't know, but I like the new one.
Is he Australian?
I like the new one. Anson Mount is. I'm telling you. Blake and I have had this conversation. Man, Pike is giving Sisko a run for his money for my favorite captain. Sisko's still my favorite captain, but Pike is. If he gets a few more seasons in him, I'm not going to read David's other comment because that may be a spoiler. Let's see, Jen. I just pulled it up on Tubi. It says TNT. Thanks, Jen. Scott's always right.
John.
I'm going to pull it back up, and I'm going to take a screenshot.
I don't care. Like I said, there's like 15 versions of The Gathering floating around there, so enjoy. Let's see. Jen says there was. I don't know what she's saying there was to. Oh, never mind. David says, Jen, I think there was a different edited version on TNT. Yes, and that's the version our newbies watched when we recorded our episode of The Gathering, because that was the same one that was on HBO Max. Except for Mike, because Mike downloaded a YouTube version and watched the old version and was confused. Let's see. Jen says there was. That's how I saw it first when I was a teenager. I just went to look to see what version was up there. Okay. And Lewis says season 2 has a lot of seed planting and not much action. I don't know. Did you watch The Coming of Shadows? I think there was plenty of action in that.
Define action. Like TKO action?
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, we got high kicks last week with Dodger.
Let's not. I have tried to block that from my mind already.
Just got Dodger trying to get some action.
Justice for Dodger.
Block that awkward Garibaldi half sex scene out of my mind. Thanks for bringing that up.
R.I.P.
Dark Sith Demon says, "Step into the abyss and let go." That kind of worries me.
All right. Hey, I thank you for your comment.
Stop it.
And Lewis asks, off topic, but isn't Pike the fleet admiral for Starfleet? No.
Wait, is this a Star Trek pod?
In the Abrams
at one point in time, he was.
Oh yeah. In the you're right. In the Kelvin universe, he is an admiral by the time we get to the worst Star Trek movie of all time.
Okay, so we're talking about Star Trek. Okay,
Thank you, Jessi. I was like, Jessi, where are you? Okay, this is a Babylon 5 30th anniversary Q&A, and
the fan asked a question.
It's all Lewis's fault.
Or damn it, Lewis, this is not a Star Wars podcast.
You almost said Stargate, and then you said Star Wars. You're still wrong.
I did it on purpose. You know, let me tell you, I get great joy out of pissing off people when talking about whatever one we're talking about. I call it the other one, and people's heads just fucking explode. Like I enjoy it.
I love the fact that you were trying to say I've been watching Babylon 5 since, and I've been watching Grey 17 since.
Yeah,
on the show
and then
last night.
we're lucky I just didn't call it Babylon 9 like I called Deep Space 5. Like, listen. The worst.
Lewis is now laughing at all of us with an emoji. But Lewis also says, okay, well, blank episode, because Lewis, they haven't watched that episode yet, is good on action, and that's season 2, so you're correct. I agree. That episode that I will not say is good on action. You're correct.
Are we really doing Beyond the Rim already on a fucking Q&A live?
That's why I skipped the name of the episode. Lewis just doesn't know what episodes you guys have watched yet. I will say to the folks in the chat, most of these guys have watched up to Acts of Sacrifice. Jessi and I think Andrew have only watched up to Gropos.
Yeah, I haven't seen one for this week yet.
Just
All Alone in the Night.
Yeah.
So that one.
Oh yeah, that's because I'm behind. We actually are ahead of ourselves now. You're right. All Lonely Night, everyone's watched. Acts of Sacrifice, some people have watched. You're right. It's because All Alone in the Night has not dropped yet. I have to edit that for next Wednesday.
Yeah.
So we got 14 people watching us and no one asking questions in the chat. So ask questions in the chat. If not, we're gonna have to let John talk more, and we don't want that. So
can we talk to Ace real quick? Ace, you said that you just started listening to our podcast. I just want to give you a bit of advice. hang in there with us. It is a bit rough in the beginning. Nobody can pronounce things right. Like then people start being, absolutely obnoxious for no reason at all, John. And then, and then we get it together. So just hang in. I think episode 8 or 9, we really like find our groove. So don't give up on us. And
Jessi, I think what I'm going to have
8 or 9 of season 2, right?
Yeah.
Jessi, I think what I'm going to have you do is record just that, and I'm going to stick it on the first 10 episodes and say, "Hi, this is Jessi. Stick with us. It's not going to be that
disclaimer.
Just hang in there because I know it sounds rough, but
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm electric and have been from the beginning. So.
That's what our
John,
fans,
that is
our
not one of the
listeners
words
call
we have
you.
had in reviews.
Exactly. Nobody's calling you electric ever.
Sometimes people struggle finding the right adjectives. I like to help out.
We've had several.
we've got a few.
I don't think
We've got
they've
a few.
struggled at
Yeah.
all.
So
They can't call. Listen, there's no way they can say anything or call me anything worse than my mom has. So I'm fine
this
with
is
it.
true.
Like,
So Lewis apologizes for dropping an episode and says, "Sorry, I'm new here." Lewis, you're okay. I'm just giving you trouble. We really appreciate you joining us. Welcome, and make sure you hit that subscribe and notify button. Thank you.
boy, Lou.
Thank you.
Jen says, "I'm getting ready for work right now." Well, thank you, Jen. I'm glad you're multitasking. We appreciate it. Ace of Diamonds says to Jessi, "Noted."
Hang in there. We'll talk in a couple weeks. We'll see where you're at then.
And Dark Sith Demon says, "Cool channel. I'm jealous of guys who are watching this series for the first time. This is my favorite sci-fi series and one of the best series of all time."
We'll see.
How I feel about Kubrick movies.
Shut up, Andrew.
Jesus, Andrew.
I will say a couple, Jessi,
Stop it down there.
after you and Nicole left, and actually I think Tim said this before you left, all the other shows, because of those who didn't watch, we had 7 of the other Babylon 5 podcasts with us for a show. They all said they're jealous of you guys because of what you get to experience and something that we can't experience ever again. We know what happens. We can't reset, unfortunately, and that's the main reason why Blake and I started this thing, is we wanted to experience one of our favorite shows through fresh eyes. So I agree with you, Dark Sith Demon.
Well, and to add a bit to that, because I wasn't on yesterday's live or yesterday's recording of the anniversary, but another thing that came up was it's also interesting because we knew when we watched it the world we lived in and the lens we watched the show through.
That's true. Yes.
And all of you were watching it through a 30-year later lens of current events and everything that's happened. So some of it in it for us was history, while now it's current events for you as you're watching it. So it's really interesting to see that dynamic too play out from our interpretations, recollections of it, watching the show through the lens we had, seeing it now as you're watching it through this very different lens. So that's been fun for us too.
Yeah, Mike from Gray Sector Podcast said the same thing last night too, was just, in watching it, even in the 2000s, we were like, well, that's kind of hokey. That wouldn't happen again. He's like, oh, in the past 4 years, all of it has happened again. This is scary.
Well, and that's one thing I've always appreciated from watching the show and from all of our discussions from both perspectives, from the newbies and the first ones, is just how a lot of the themes are still relevant 30 years later. The show has, even though you can say maybe it hasn't aged well from a technical standpoint, but just from a writing and thematical standpoint, the show hasn't aged at all.
And Justin, I'll speak on behalf of all those watching you right now who haven't said this but are thinking it. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Right.
David says he agrees with John about Gropos. Well, David and John are both incorrect, so okay. Lewis, here's a loaded question. Lewis asks, what's your thoughts on Psychor? Isn't Bester great?
I don't know. Talking about adjectives, I don't know if great's the one I'm searching for there with old Bester.
Electric, maybe?
Douchey.
Electric.
I will say,
He is a sharp dresser.
Is it wankerish acceptable?
John, you don't get to comment on people being sharp dressers tonight.
No shit.
But I will say, with the role of Bester, as a fan of Star Trek and who grew up watching Walter Koenig as Chekhov, he gets so much more to do in this role. And it's such a more dynamic role. I actually consider Walter Koenig as Bester more so than I do Chekhov.
Same.
Just because of the role here, the way it was written, the way he played it. this to me is far more defining for him.
Is it a spoiler to ask if we'll see him again?
We're gonna see him again.
I will say I don't think it's a spoiler. Walter Koenig is a guest actor who will come back.
Because we talked about it in that episode, the demeanor, his difference from episode 1, the first episode we saw him in, the second episode we saw him in, was fairly significant. So seeing him a third time, I'm curious to see what his demeanor will be again.
Well, John, that's a good point about the show. What I love about this show too, not just your main actors and characters have arcs, even your recurring characters and your guest actors have arcs. The story continues. Even when they're off the station, we don't hear from them for a while. The story moves, and they move along with the story, which is really fun to watch, too.
I mean, Bester's out having picnics with a family and kids, watching the stars, trying to be normal. I wonder if his wife knows what he does for a living. Do you think they met on a dating website?
I wonder if he has some sort of mind control over her, and that's what keeps their relationship together.
So you think she's a prisoner?
Remember what we learned, though, guys.
When you hear Talia talk about her relationship and
right.
her, I mean,
remember what we learned, though. The Psy-Corps matches people up. Just because he has a wife doesn't mean that it is something that they fell in love and had a romance. It's probably, I don't know this, but Psy-Corps is probably like, hey, you're a P12, she's a P10. Chances are your babies are going to be around that range, and we need them because there's not many telepaths out there. So start making babies.
Yeah, what if she's evil too? We don't know her. She could be, evil and shitty. They could have a little brat kid. It could be a whole bratty family.
Seems plausible.
So Lewis says, we enjoy watching through your fresh eyes as well. Ace says, at this point, having seen up to around acts of sacrifice is hard. If I heard that right. Who is each of the newbies' favorite characters, and where do you think those characters will be at the end of the story? So who is your favorite character so far, and where do you think they'll wind up when we're all said and done?
This is Ace, right? The guy who just started listening to us?
Ace of Diamonds.
That's what I thought. Okay.
This pains me because it's going to come out of my mouth. And Ace, you're going to hear something so different for the first 10 episodes.
Who is this Jessi we're talking to now? I don't understand.
I absolutely adore Ivanova. It hurts. It hurts, Ace. I love her, and there's so many layers to her character. And she's such a phenomenal actress. And also because we got to interview her and she's just a genuinely amazing person. She's my favorite. And she's a strong female leader. You can't go wrong. I can't wait until you go back and actually listen to our show. Because I'm hopeful that all of you will go back and listen just for the Beyond the Rim stuff. Because it's interesting to hear how your predictions play out and how we react to those. I want you, Jessi, to hear the hate that you have for Ivanova in your soul for those several episodes to start with. I did not want it. I was not consenting to her. I didn't. Oh, you'd consent to her now, wouldn't you? Oh, I would. You know what?
Watch it.
After what Claudia told us about her.
Right. She, you know what? You're 100% right. I just thoroughly disliked her at first. And, to hear you guys say you are Ivanova and you said it over and over and over. And at first I was like, Jesus, stop saying that. That's not nice. And now I think it's almost an honor to have somebody we meant it as such. It was not a dig. Your personality is an Ivanova personality. Much like I'm actually really happy that Emily linked up with Delenn, because I've known Emily longer than I've known any of you. Mm-hmm. Emily is Delenn, and we haven't even seen the full. That's a little concerning in some ways.
Did you just say she was shady as shit recently?
Again, I've known Emily longer than all of you, and I'm just going to smile and nod. I'm just going to say. Okay, so let's keep this moving. So Jessi says Ivanova, and where do you think Ivanova is going to end up?
Dead or in jail.
In a coffin.
Stop. She better not die. Oh God. I don't I see her continue to move up in the ranks. I guarantee she's some kind of leadership at some point.
Captain Ivanova or something like
She's
that.
only got one more promotion left on the
No, but there's
station.
lots of things outside of Babylon 5.
She could be like a
Jonathan.
fleet commander for all you know, or an admiral.
So you think she's going to leave the show?
After season 5, yeah. I mean,
Oh, all right.
there's life after B5.
No, there isn't.
I will say, and this is nothing. This is nothing I have not told you guys before. We are watching a 5-year arc, so
Right.
this show ends. It started in 2258. It ends in 2263. So there is, for some of our characters, if not many of our characters, there is life after 2263.
So we're going to see a war this season.
We'll see. You already have a war. You got the Narn and
I mean, we
Centauri.
kind of already are, yeah.
Yeah, but the Great War.
Okay.
In the
Well, all we know is this is the year that the war came upon us.
Okay,
We don't know
got it.
when in the year that the
Moving
war
on.
comes
And as we
upon
know
us.
from what, and we will drop this episode next week, as we know from what Sheridan has said, it's June, because he said he's been on Babylon 5 for 6 months, and he started in January. So it is now June 2259 for you guys. Okay, we got to keep this moving because I'm getting some questions queued up. So, Emily, who's your favorite character, and where do you think they're going to end up?
Dylan. From the beginning, it was Dylan. Still Dylan. I'm actually worried that she's going to lose her as far as the show goes and what we actually see happen. I'm worried she's going to lose her ambassador position. And I get this weird feeling she's going to have to rescue Sinclair since he's still supposed to be like a representative of Earth on Minbari. And with the change in the Grey Council, that doesn't seem like a safe place for him anymore.
Interesting. Justin, favorite character, and where are they going to end up?
I'm totally right now on Team Kosh. Honestly, I can't blame it. I am who I am, John. Don't hate me for being me.
John can't talk.
But I think that Kosh will probably end up still just kind of watching the world burn, probably up until the last minute.
He did say it ends in fire.
It does end in fire. He's going to watch it burn and then step in, save the day, and win the Game of Thrones.
Andrew, because I already know John's answer, so I'll do him last. Andrew, favorite character, and where are they going to end?
Right now, I'm kind of torn between Londo and Jakar.
It's a good pairing.
Can I sway?
I will go ahead and I will go ahead and say Londo though, because I have a better idea on where I think he's going to end up, and that is dead.
Oh,
Wow.
I do think.
Okay, well, since you said two, where do you think Jakar's going to end up? Londo's dead in your mind, so where's Jakar going to go?
killed him.
Well, not too far off there.
Son of a bitch.
I think
This is getting dark.
it's gonna be kind of a history repeats itself, and now the Narn have enslaved the Centauri.
So you think the Narn is the great hand reaching out from the galaxy? Okay.
No.
Interesting.
Maybe.
I know who the hand is.
Jessi
I
knows who
figured
the
it out.
hand is. At least she thinks she does. John, tell us why Londo is your favorite character and where is he going to end up?
Thank you, Scott. So Londo is okay. Very quickly, because we have other questions. Londo's my favorite character. At first, it was the kind of funny. He was the comic reliefish, just good guy, fun guy. But I think he's my favorite character because he is getting more complex and complexity that you can actually see. And because we live in a world that isn't always black and white, there's lots and various shades of gray. And I think Londo has lived in all of them so far. And I've said this, so, if you haven't listened to our episodes, keep listening to our episodes because we make predictions, just like what I'm about to say. And I think that he is going further and further down into a darker place. And I think what will happen is he will have a redemption, whether it's by his own choice or kind of forced upon him, from what I think is an actual friendship with Jakar, which we saw in Shadows, that will bring him and snap him out of it and bring him over to the good side and have a redeeming act. Now, maybe to Andrew's point, the redeeming act is sacrificing himself, although I don't think that's the case, but I think there's good in there. We've seen it too many times. And again, as we said, JMS isn't just so black or white and everything's, binary like that, that I think the good will still come out. I think there's still a chance.
So Andrew thinks that Jakar is going to enslave and kill Londo, and John thinks Jakar and Londo are going to be friends, and Jakar is going to redeem Londo. I guarantee you, at least one of you is wrong. At least one.
Andrew. Wait till you see Jakar Londo's buddy comedy movie.
Hey, Blake, real quick, and don't tell us why, because why haven't happened yet. Who is your favorite character?
For my favorite character?
Yes, who's your favorite character?
And I have to say mine is Jakar through the series.
Okay. Yeah, and don't say why. That's good. I would
What about you,
say...
Scott?
I would say, and I said this at the gathering, I think that it's Londo and Jakar for me. And as I said to begin with to you guys, I think Babylon 5 is Londo's story. I didn't say it's a good story, John. I just said it's Londo's story.
Greatest story ever told.
I also like Sheridan. I was really excited when we got to Sheridan. I know you guys dogged on him, especially Nicole, but I like Sheridan too. Okay.
Can we just say no one picked Franklin? Oddly enough.
Moving on. So David says Bester is his favorite character because Walter Koenig loved playing the role. He did. He loved it.
Okay.
Actually, Tim from the Babylon podcast said that last night when we were chatting, because they actually got to interview Walter, which I'm extremely jealous about. And Walter said to them that Chekhov was the role that allowed him to get Bester, which was his favorite role. So Chekhov made him famous so he could become Bester down the road. So, yeah, Walter loved playing Bester. Let's see. Ace of Diamonds says, one of my favorite characters in sci-fi and great homage to the name. Talking about Bester. Lewis says, excellent question, Ace. I agree. Jen says, to Catherine, same here. It is a very different show to me now that I'm in my 40s. Okay. Let's see. Lewis says that, okay, I'm not going to say that. Sorry, Lewis. Ace, it's not a bad thing. I'm just not going to say it. Ace of Diamonds says, took me forever to track down a copy of The Demolished Man, which was written by Alfred Bester, at a local library, but I set out to read it once I learned the source of Bester's name. Yeah, The Demolished Man is a really good story. It's one of those quintessential sci-fi stories. Let's see. Jeff says this series has props that have their own story arcs. I wouldn't disagree. I mean,
that's true.
We've already seen the Chrysalis Machine. You guys watched that thing getting built for most of season 1, not knowing what the hell it was. Some of you guys were asking, I was like, why is she playing chess? Well, just wait. Let's see.
That Centauri statue? Dope.
Yes. Lead the goddess of passion. Let's see. I lost my place. Here it is. Okay. Jen says Jessi is her favorite character. You are a character.
You heard that, Jessi?
You're a character.
Dark Sith Demon says the music for Babylon 5 is great as well. Christopher Franke did an incredible job. And yeah, I agree. And we actually had somebody on our Facebook group say that we haven't really talked about the music enough. I think what we'll probably do is do a bonus episode just on the music, because I think that's something we can discuss, especially as we, you guys have already seen with season 1, season 2, every season has its own theme, and we haven't gotten to my favorite theme yet. So there's some good ones out there. Let's see, but it's always Christopher Franke, or Frank. I don't know how to pronounce his name. He's German. Ace of Diamonds says, guessing you were bitter about her replacing Takashima, talking about Ivanova.
I was for 8 or 9 episodes.
Oh, we were on the same page there, Jessi. We've turned into a different person. You don't even know.
She's dope though, so you can't still stick with that she's not amazing.
And to that point, Jeff says it's great that pod presenters can evolve just as well as the characters can evolve.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Jeff. That's true.
He's not talking about you.
Mind your business. To be fair, what we said at the time about not liking Ivanova was that the character that she was one note in the beginning. She was just the stereotypical pissed off female character that didn't have any other depth even then that the other characters got, which is why I didn't like her.
Did you just call her pissed off?
She was angry a lot.
Huh.
I wonder why Scott said you guys are alike. Weird.
You both have a powerful personality.
She's aggressive and angry.
Here we are with those adjectives. Here we are with those adjectives again. Powerful personality. I'm Jessi. I have a powerful personality.
Lewis, referring back to Ivanova getting promoted, which is what Jessi thinks is going to happen. Lewis says, "Remember, if the captain dies, everyone gets an instant promotion."
Oh,
Yeah.
And that reminds me of one of my
talk
favorite.
to me, Lewis.
Reminds me of one of my favorite scenes from Deep Space Nine. Is Nog is on the Nog is on the bridge, and O'Brien is talking to him about, well, whoever's in charge of the bridge is the captain, and Nog's like, so does that mean I could be the captain? And then Dax turns to him and says, yes, but if you're the captain, everyone else is dead. I love Nog.
That reminds me of one of my favorite Office lines. Let's talk about other TV shows.
No.
When Dwight says, if I'm dead, you've all been dead for weeks.
Lewis asks if they've seen the Workers episode. Yes, we have seen By Any Means Necessary.
Mm-hmm.
It is a good union episode. Blake and I love it.
Wait, you weren't the only ones. We all like that episode too.
I know. Lewis says his favorite character is Bester. Jen says Ivanova. David says Sheridan. Catherine says Sheridan. Neil, hey, welcome Neil to the chat. Neil says,
Hey, Neil.
My answer involves reasons that are spoilers. Maybe my favorite character shifts a bit through the show. Okay, Neil, keep it to yourself. Let's see. Lemon Pepper. Lemon, welcome to the chat. Yeah, I'm going to have to go back and catch up on the podcast. You all are awesome. Well, thank you, Lemon. Please do.
Thank you.
Make sure you like and subscribe, whether it's on the podcast or on the YouTube. The shows are on both. Ace of Diamonds says Dylan, with a special mention to Mr. Morden.
Interesting.
Jeff says Shakar. Lewis was talking about By Any Means Necessary. Let's see.
Well, I guess I've got a fan club of one because I'm the only person in Team Kosh, but that's okay. I'm hanging out, having fun in my own mind.
I will say, Justin, I think it's fairly obvious reasons, because Kosh is very quiet. We spend a lot of time on Beyond the Rim about Kosh. We do.
I think Justin just wants to win that action figure. I think this is all a giant ploy.
I have one.
That is true. That is true. That's a good plug. Good plug. Not that one. This one. If you subscribe to us on YouTube, this little guy right here could be shipped to you. We're going to pick one of our subscribers at the end of the month, and you can get this guy. It still has the KB tag on it. Look at that. Thanks, Mitt Romney, for killing KB Toys. Thank you, Mitt Romney. Okay. Oh, let's see what we got here.
So we think, while he's looking, so Nicole's favorite character is Garibaldi, yeah? Or do you think she'd pick Sinclair?
I think she probably goes with Garibaldi.
Yeah, I think so too.
Garibaldi. Mm-hmm. Sinclair, very close second.
Yeah, she does like Sinclair a lot.
What about Mike?
Mike is Jakar.
Okay.
Yeah, I've known Mike's favorite for a very long time. It's absolutely Jakar.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Kevin?
I don't know. What do you think, Blake? I don't know on Kevin.
Bester?
No, there's so many comments I could make here about who Kevin would like in this and why. And
the lady from ISN that we haven't seen yet.
Well, I'm just thinking about, so when you look at our picture,
he's gonna kill me later, but I was thinking Franklin because sometimes he can channel Franklin really well.
Oh, listen, he's not here to defend himself.
Wow.
Stop.
You've known him longer than me. Am I wrong?
I would say if he had to pick a favorite right now, it'd probably be Delenn or Sheridan.
I'm going to guess one of the Rangers we haven't met yet, since that's the costume he picked.
because that was what he chose for the picture.
Oh,
I did love that when Emily's like, I recognize that Ranger costume.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, it's been Kevin's costume since we got our graphics.
I didn't recognize it from
looks
our
like Kevin's in the
graphic.
chat,
That's
so
the
Kevin
funny
might be
part.
able to...
Oh, yeah, Kevin is in the chat. Kevin, who's your favorite character?
Kevin, listen, I'm not going to sit here and let Blake Franklin you. Okay, I got your back.
We're not pinning Franklin on you.
We will not let your good name be slandered.
Exactly.
I'm just making sure Kevin's not in the lobby. He's not. Okay. So let's keep going here. The other Catherine says, I haven't seen past where newbies are either. I'm glad we'll go back to dock work. We'll get back to the dock workers. I don't know about that. I really enjoyed that one. Let's see. Lewis says, okay, I'm not going to read that one.
But I'm glad we've got some newbies in the chat. That's fun.
We do. We have a lot of newbies watching us. Yeah. We absolutely do.
Are they dropping a lot of spoilers in the chat? 'Cause you're not reading
No,
this-
it's not. It's like they're not really spoilers, but I'd rather not allude to stuff, so I'm being clean.
Sure.
There's not really like, this person is this. None of that. They're being really good in the chat. I'm just being cautious.
Okay.
Looking at our analytics to that point, I can absolutely see that there is a steep drop in who listens to the podcast right when we go to the mid credits before we go to Beyond the Rim. So I can tell you about 50% of our audience either just hates hearing from Blake and I or are newbies or a little bit of both, maybe. Let's see.
Everybody's done when Jessi leaves the show.
I'm out. Taking all my followers to my own podcast.
Jessi, what's your favorite time travel story? And why?
Well, so I got this book, right?
Oh shit! Talk to me, girl.
I haven't started reading it, but it's sitting on my shelf.
So Tem says Jakar is his favorite. Blake is actually telling the folks in the chat it's okay to throw out some stuff because the newbies aren't in the chat. So thanks, Blake, for corralling. I appreciate it.
Oh, hold
But
on.
there are newbies in the chat, so be careful.
That is
Let
true.
me-
There are some
let me-
newbies in the chat, Blake.
Let me log out of YouTube. Real
Just not
quick.
our
Yeah, we're not
newbies.
in the chat. I'm not.
Okay, so Kevin says you'll be hearing from my favorite character later. Now I know who his favorite character is. Okay.
It's gotta be one of the Rangers. See, I was right.
Rafe.
No, I think he was saying that I'll be hearing from him later for my comment.
Oh, that could be it too. But Kevin, you still have to answer the damn question. Who's your favorite? Rafe, a new person in the chat. Hi, Rafe. I only have 2 questions for you. What do you want, and who are you?
Who is anybody, Rafe? Such an existential question. Some
What
days I
do any
wake
of
up.
us really want?
We're newbies, and we just want the first ones to stop being dicks about Beyond the Rim.
I'll take $1 million too, if we're being real. Like
You know,
Jessi
shit.
can have her, whatever. But
Rafe
I'm
says,
Justin, and I want some loaded tater tots.
nice. Rafe says
Oh,
he's
that sounds good right now.
Rafe says he's just being
feels like
ambassador cautious with his questions.
good pun. I love it.
Womp womp. And then David does say, and I think this is good advice. When Kosh speaks, you should listen.
I listened
Right,
to him talk in this
Amen.
episode. The
Most of the time he says shit and it makes absolutely no sense.
It makes no sense to you now.
Yeah.
Waiting for your rewatch.
I
I'm
get
telling
it.
you, wait
I
for
get
your
it.
rewatch.
I get it.
Your guys is
We're not there yet.
What was it? Summer yesterday saying she's looking forward to the times when you guys jump off the couch and go, "Oh shit." There's gonna be those times. I'm telling you. Jessi had
told
one of
you I
those
did
times
that.
in the chat a few days ago.
I did that driving to my parents' house yesterday. I said I was thinking about I was listening to our podcast, the episode about there was some kind of vision about a sun and a hand coming out of the sun. And then I put 2 and 2 together about, I think it was, who was it? Ivanova that said he was the hand
In Sheridan's dream,
in Sheridan's dream.
you
and
are the
I was
hand.
like, oh my God, the hand. And
No, I'm not saying
I don't
that
know
you're
if that-
correct, but that's what you're.
I know.
making connections.
Listen, I don't know if any of that adds up to anything, but and I don't know what it means, but
But
I
you,
Jessi, I will say I'm extremely happy that you are making these connections. Honestly, even if they may not be right, I love that you're making
Right.
these connections.
right.
I have another question. Jessica, are you at your parents' house right now?
I am at my parents' house right now.
It explains that couch.
It
That
does.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Grandma's couch, and she died. You want to talk about it? Go ahead.
Listen, I'm a big, as you can
Oh.
tell, I'm a big fan of balling out with some fabric. But damn,
Okay, Kevin
I
says
am
his
at my
favorite.
parents'.
Kevin says his favorite character is Kefir, and Kevin's full of shit. Okay, Catherine has a follow-up question. Now that we've heard who your favorite character is, when did you learn they were your favorite character?
The Gathering.
The Gathering for Londo. Okay, John said. Jessi, when did you start not hating Ivanova?
I started not hating Ivanova in TKO,
Okay, good episode for Ivanova. Good episode.
Yeah. and
Emily.
that's where I start. We started to get her backstory, and
Yes.
she was like, there was more depth and more. She was more like of a person instead of just a figurehead. So
Mhm.
that was definitely where I started, and then it just was downhill for me from
I
there.
like it. I like it. Emily, when did you start liking Dylan?
Her conversation with Sinclair in the garden, in the Zen garden, when she was explaining about all the books.
In the
And-
Gathering.
Yeah, all the way in the gathering.
Nice.
It was,
You were pot committed in the first episode. I like it.
Yep.
Andrew, you said Jakar and Londo. When did you start seeing them as your favorite characters?
Well, that's a hard one because I'm trying to think the individual episodes,
Mm-hmm.
but
You can give us scenes too. We
I-
can probably remember what the episode was from that.
was gonna say I'm just gonna go ahead and say Signs and Portents.
Yeah.
Good episode.
Like
for
I'm
both.
kind of up and because kind of up until then I didn't really have a favorite character.
If you go to our YouTube channel and look at our shorts, I only made one short video, and it is Jessi losing her fucking mind when we get to Signs and Portents. It's kind
Welcome to motherfucking Babylon 5, bitches.
That's exactly what it was. Justin, when did you start thinking Kosh was your favorite character?
Probably when Deathwalker got Koshed.
Deathwalker.
That was the beginning, and he just drops the mic and says, "Y'all bitches not ready for this," and walks out. And then probably Chrysalis is another one, I think, if I'm thinking of the right episode.
Mm-hmm. The season finale of season 1?
Yeah. That's when I really started
okay.
When it's like, I know, and then even with Sheridan, when they tell Sheridan, stick by the Vorlons. Like, or no,
because they're the bad guys, in as much as they're assholes who refuse to share information with anyone. Rewatching together made me hate Kosh even more because
that's okay. Kosh hates you too.
Well, that's fine. Get in line. But because they're all talking about, this is gonna be first contact. No one's ever seen a Vorlon. Like again, it doubles down again with the Vorlons being so holier than thou. They got a Franklin-esque smugness to them as a species. That again, with this great war, they know more than they're letting on. And my prediction from before is I think they're the light to the shadow's dark, and it's kind of annoying.
So they're the good guys.
No, they're bad because they could have. Look how many lives they could have saved. And they're just fucking hanging out in their environmental suits.
So you're kind of saying
Hold
the
on.
yin and the yang, huh?
Yeah.
How can you be so against the Vorlons for not doing enough? But when we asked about Veer, you were like, no, Veer has no place in it whatsoever. Veer has no culpability in the whole
Shots
situation.
fired.
Jessi, much like Shrek, I'm an onion. And I have layers.
Your
One of those-
bullshit is what it is.
Bullshit answer.
Oh, the
Good job.
Centauri could do no wrong.
Right.
Oh.
Like, you
The
said
Centauri were a
Veer
great
has-
republic. A great republic. And now they've been reduced to 9 to 5 human
I need
hours.
you to
Okay,
take
so-
that blazer and that damn tie off. I'm tired of it.
Continuing on to the chat, David says he is.
Make Centauri Republic great again.
Oh God! Here comes the comments. Here comes the comments.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
wait for it.
So David
Where
says,
you go, Andrew?
David says I'm confused and
You're
hurt
welcome.
that. David says
got
I'm confused. David says I'm confused and hurt that no one has said Kefir as their favorite character.
Because we've so in
Well,
4
we haven't
scenes
really
with them.
seen too
We haven't
much.
seen much
Yeah.
of him.
It's like a collective 5 minutes.
Let's see.
Didn't he almost die in one episode and then magically
Yeah.
did?
All I know is
Tim says Kefir adds to scenes by not being in them.
exactly every time somebody's gonna die, Kefir's not around.
And that's what we talked about. I mean, if you ever see a pilot that's not Kefir, they're gonna die. The squadron leader, Ramirez, they're just gonna die. Let's see. Okay, so Ace asks, for the ones who have seen the show, so to Blake and I, to the ones who have seen the show before, without giving any reasons as to avoid spoilers, what episode would you most want to see the newbies rewatch after finishing the series? And let's stick with the episodes the newbies have seen, Blake.
You know, mine would be, and we talked about this a little bit before, is it would almost be all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Just watch
to
the whole
really-
damn thing.
to watch the whole thing over again, to really go back. I mean, I can't pinpoint just like one or two or a handful, but to really go back, because we're already seeing it where, you know, we've had Jessi come back and say, aha, I've had this moment. And there's these subtle things throughout the entire series where, you know, unlike other shows, and we said this in another one of our episodes too, you know, a lot of other shows beat you over the head with these points that are supposed to be important. Whereas Babylon 5 has these subtleties, whether that be a headline on a newspaper in the background or some little piece, or it even came up when the Rangers got introduced. And Emily, you said, I've seen that costume before. And it was, yeah, they've been in the background for like 5 or 6 episodes now. You know, those little pieces. So I would almost say rewatching the whole thing and going back and looking for all of those little pieces.
Ace, unlike Blake, I will actually answer your question, and I will say Babylon Squared. I look forward to them rewatching Babylon Squared.
So now I'm going to go rewatch it now.
It's not going to help you. It's
All
not
right.
going to help you at all. But there will be a time where I will say, go back and watch Babylon Squared, and that's when it will help you. Okay.
And by then, Jessi will like time travel.
Babylon 4 is the key to everything, Jessica.
Okay, Asa. Okay, I already did that one. Adam. Hi, Adam. Welcome to the chat. Just logged into YouTube to watch the video you guys released earlier, and here you are again. Yeah, we're all about the content tonight. It is the 30th anniversary of Babylon 5. So there's a lot of content flowing right now, but because it's you only turn 30 once, I did it 10 years ago, so it's great.
I can't wait to do it soon.
Shut up, John.
Shut up.
Same here.
My 20s have been a wild ride.
Shut up, child.
Aaron, who's new to the chat as well too, says Delenn with a heart. Okay. Lewis says an episode that they haven't watched yet. I love you, Lewis, but I'm not going to say that name. Let's see.
Is it coming up? Is it this season at least?
Yes, it is this season. It is.
Okay, good.
And Martin, new to the chat as well, says I have watched blank the most. And again, I will not say what that title is.
Is that this season?
That one, no. So Lewis, okay, I don't know who he's talking. He's somebody holier than thou. Okay, Rafe. I just made my way through the first 4 seasons for the second time, and there's quite a bit I had forgotten. My vote for rewatch would be more along the lines of a couple storylines. Okay, and he doesn't say what storylines. Kevin. Okay, real answer. This is to Kevin's favorite character. When I watched B5 the first couple times, my favorite character was Sheridan. But I've migrated to Ivanova and a character yet to be seen. Okay.
The Ranger. Just say the Ranger.
I bet that character's a ranger.
Just, I mean.
Adam says, I don't know. I've known people who have turned 30 a bunch of times. See, I've actually caught up with the chat now. This is great. I'm caught up.
So Scott, let's let the chat get ahead real quick because we've mentioned Jessi and time travel a couple times. So Jessi, let's talk about your Christmas present. Because when we watched Babylon Squared, you had an absolute meltdown.
Temper tantrum.
John wanted to talk about time travel, and that
because it was relevant to the show.
It 100% was. But listen, there's no secret here. I'm not a sci-fi person. I'm not. And
yet, your absolute love of Marvel blows my fucking mind.
I know,
because all they're talking about are multiverses for the next fucking 2 years.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of
about Doctor Strange and time travel. We can do it all day long. Anything outside of that, I know, I get it. I understand. So we had a secret Santa between the members of the podcast, and I got a thermal thermometer for meat, like a meat thermometer. And I knew instantly who it came from just because there's somebody on this podcast that loves to cook.
You can see his first cooking show on our YouTube channel.
I knew it was him, Blake. But then to seal the deal, a couple days later, I believe, I got a book about time travel. And I was like, yep, Blake's an asshole. It's definitely from him. And so John and I have agreed, as soon as I read this damn book, to do some kind of special content about time travel.
Nice.
But I haven't got there yet. So yes, that's my story about time travel.
So I will say we have 26 people watching us right now and only 16 likes. So clicky on the thummy. Okay.
Smash that like button.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's that subscribe button if you haven't.
Yeah, subscribe and the notify, because we go live, as you can see. And if you want to know when we go live, that notify button will tell you. Okay, so Martin, going back to The Gathering, since this is the 30th anniversary of The Gathering, says Lita is the hottest character in Babylon 5.
Ooh, slow your roll there, buddy.
Whoa.
Let me say this.
Have you seen Delenn, though?
Okay, but
the
scene with Ivanova when Talia comes in at night and she's in her jammies.
Right.
But have you seen
a lot of
Delenn,
Victoria's
though?
Secret in that episode, didn't we?
Rankings. Talia, Ivanova,
Gosh.
pre-Chrysalis Delenn, post-Chrysalis Delenn, then Lida.
Where does Gathering Delenn fall in there?
Not even on the list.
Before Lita.
Okay.
Does Lita come back? Lita does not come back, correct?
Lita left with Dr. Kyle and with Takashima.
Yeah,
Takashima can make that list too, FYI.
She could before Lita.
Yeah, I will
agree.
say, we talked a little bit already, the meta about the trap doors and JMS switches characters out when he has to. You've already seen the replacements for all three of those. Dr. Kyle is Dr. Franklin, Takashima is Ivanova, and Lita was replaced by Talia. So, and that's just because when you do a pilot a year in advance,
I didn't even get into Lando's wives and where they fit in the rankings at.
Death, pestilence, and famine. It's
a good takeaway, and I think I'm going to take that and put it together a definitive list for you.
I'm mad that you think that Talia is hotter than Ivanova.
Listen, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's very close, and in any given scene, it could tip either way.
I would say just on the sheer fact that Talia is a blonde and Ivanova is not, Ivanova gets a higher ranking. Just saying.
I was going to say, are you about to say that blondes are hotter?
I absolutely am never going to say that. Okay, moving right along.
You too, Scott.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Wait, can I flip? Can I change the script? Can I ask a question?
Sure, but we have like 7 questions in the chat, so make it quick.
Well, guess what? They can I want them to answer. Can they tell us where they're from?
Oh yeah,
I'm
okay.
interested to see like where we're hearing people.
So throw in the chat where you're from, everybody, and I'll read them off. I will say currently we are in the past month we've been rated the #1 podcast in Finland, Italy, and Spain for TV reviews. And just yesterday we got the number 12 in Canada.
Ooh, Canada.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys can put that in the chat, but as we go, Neil asks, has Jessi seen X-Men Days of Future Past? That might be a palatable time travel film for her.
I don't know about palatable. I wasn't a huge fan, but
can you tell me what year that came out?
That was the First Class characters. That was after X-Men First Class. So it was when Wolverine goes back in time.
Yes.
And then they brought the original X-Men characters.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I have seen.
Man, have you seen the Road Cut?
No.
The Road Cut's good.
Yeah,
it gives Rogue a little justice. Yeah. I am looking forward to Marvel actually handling the X-Men well. I'm looking forward to that.
Hopefully now that
looking forward to James Gunn's DC.
I'm kind of meh on the movies they've announced, except for Superman Legacy really excites me. The Superman movie made by James Gunn sounds fun, because maybe James Gunn will actually know how to write a Superman movie, unlike Snyder. Okay, moving on. Let's see. David says, yeah, you will start seeing more breadcrumbs that JMS laid out. I agree with that, especially when you do a rewatch. There's a lot of Easter eggs and breadcrumbs in there. And I mean, we've talked about this. Blake and I have rewatched this show between the two of us hundreds of times, and we catch something new every time. And the really fun thing has been, at least for me, Blake, and I don't want to speak for you, you guys have pointed out stuff that I haven't caught in rewatching this show a lot. So it's fun.
Can I ask another question? Mm-hmm. Because I was thinking about it earlier. We were recording something else. So I was a huge Lost fan. And when it came out, it was the first show that really got me into an online community, much like you've referenced many times, like Usenet.
Yeah.
And like what
CompuServe and AOL. Yeah.
Is there anything that we can, as newbies, like read that will be to that show that won't spoil the future? No, look at the fucking nose already. Like, I can't win.
No,
like, I want to be.
And because what's happened over the years, if you were watching this with everybody the first time, JMS was good about alluding to stuff, but not really going crazy about this is what's happening next. But because things have been compiled now, if you look at an episode you even watched back a year ago or whatever, there's stuff that people have pulled over from, he relates to this episode down the road. So, I think you'll enjoy reading those when you do a rewatch, but I would not do it now. You will get spoiled.
It's my biggest annoyance with this show.
Sorry. Let's see. Let's answer John's question a little bit here. So Adam says Australia. Ooh. Tim says Atlanta. Lewis says Missouri. Lewis, I'm in Columbia.
We're in Missouri.
Giving out addresses and shit.
I don't need an address, just a general whereabouts.
Scott's like, I'm at 123 ABC Street in Columbia.
Unless you live on Volunteer Drive, and if you know what I do for a living, it works. Let's see. Lewis said Missouri. Craig is Australia. We have 2 Australians. Hey, Aaron is Israel. We got some international flavor in the chat, guys.
Funsies.
Because it's 11:45 here in America. Most people are asleep because they've worked tomorrow.
Jen says the part of Florida that's in the deep south, so I'm going to guess the Panhandle.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Jim.
Ace of Diamonds says New York.
Okay.
Martin says Quonos.
Kronos, Klingon homeworld.
Yeah.
Thanks, Justin.
Catherine is Maryland,
I'm
right
glad I
outside.
can contribute.
Catherine
Gosh,
is
killing it.
Maryland, right outside of DC. David is also in Missouri.
You guys should link up.
Rafe is the northwest corner of Ohio, downriver from Toledo. Lewis is in the Ozarks. Lewis, I'm about 45 minutes from you, buddy. We should meet up and have Babylon 5 drinks. Okay. Let's see.
And the guy who's in Toledo, I'm in Indianapolis, so that's nice and close.
We have a Dominion spy in our midst, and the Dominion spy is from Finland.
Hey.
Neil
Anybody
is
else
from
from-
London,
about the
UK,
address?
and I love the fact that he had to put London, comma, UK in case you didn't think it was London, Ohio.
Might be London, Missouri.
There
Same
are
thing- same
way
thing
too
with-
many American cities that have the balls to call themselves places like Paris, Tennessee.
Hey, my grandparents lived in Milan, Illinois.
Yeah.
Milan.
Yeah.
Oh dang! I don't. Is this the real Milan? I can't even tell.
Or
My
Cairo,
husband pronounced
Illinois.
it Milan.
Cairo,
Athens.
It's Milan.
Athens. Yeah. Okay, so Jeff is Pennsylvania. Another Jeff, Jeffrey, is Georgia. Okay, so that's everybody in the chat so far for that. So let me scroll back up here to questions. Kevin says Takashima is hot. Let's see. Craig says, I rewatch Babylon 5 every year or so. Do I need help? No, you do not. No, you do not. Martin says boneheads are not hot. This is what we're going for here in the chat, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, Tim's got a
Alien
question.
species hotness.
Tim has a legitimate question. How do you like Talia compared to the original commercial telepath from The Gathering, Lita? We kind of did that a little bit already, but how do you guys compare Talia to Lita?
I like Talia. Talia took a minute to grow on me a little bit because they didn't write for her. I think for the first season, really, she was very underwritten. And we get a little bit more of her in season 2, and I enjoy her. I didn't know how to feel about her at first, but I like her. Lita, I didn't really have any, like, I don't know. I didn't really have any feelings towards Lita because it was one episode. Now, I say that, and I was pissed off about Takashima, but Lita didn't really strike me one way or the other. So I'm happy with Talia.
Rafe is also now, since we asked where in parts of the world you're at, Rafe is the one who said that he is in, hold on, I gotta double check this now. Well, I don't know, but wherever Rafe is, he lives near the town of Napoleon, and their claim to fame is they have a little wooden cutout of Napoleon Bonaparte.
Nice. I think to Jesse's point, I mean, we've gotten obviously way more Talia than we did Lita, but early Talia was exactly like Lita, I think. Like, to your point about growing on her, like they were almost the same person. It was almost as if the actress watched Lita's performance and goes, okay, great, that's what I'll model my performance on. And it was very kind of stiff and wooden, and like I wasn't a huge fan. And even now in some of the episodes, I've gone a little like back and forth with Talia because on the one hand, she has seen how awful Psychor is, and yet she's still not being fully honest with, at least where we are right now. She's not being fully honest with Sheridan. She's not really, she's not showing all her cards. She's playing a little close to the vest. So there's a part of that, again, I'm not a huge fan of, but I'm enjoying the burgeoning relationship between her and Ivanova for strictly diplomatic reasons.
Let's see here. Anyone else in the Talia Lita question? Y'all good?
All right.
Good talk.
I like Talia. I mean, 1,000%
I
better than
mean-
Lita. So
Yeah, Lita
Yeah, I
was
think it's like where we are now. Like I think that's a bit of an unfair question because we've only seen Lita once.
Yeah.
she reminded me of like a knockoff April O'Neil from Teenage Mutant Ninja
Wow.
Yes.
That's a
Ooh.
redhead.
Because she's a redhead?
I think it was like something about the clothing even too. I don't know. That's just
She had shoulder pads on?
but I didn't like her.
Wow.
Not a fan.
Also, the other reason that you kind of, or at least I was put off from her too, is like, so the changeling net, right? That she seemingly was the bad guy for about 4 scenes. So you just get a bad taste in your mouth with her in general.
So Dominion Spy from Finland asks, what is your favorite character who is not in the opening credits? And I'm going to say actually shows their face in the opening credits because, you know, some of them get listed in the opening credits, but they don't show their face. But so who is your favorite character who's not shown in the opening credits?
Can you clarify? So I've said it before. I skipped the opening credits.
Just tell me a character who is like a side character, and I'll tell you if they're in the opening credits or not. How about that?
No,
Monkey Man
I have
Bartender.
a question for him. Is he Garrick? If his little
Is the
login
Dominion
name
Spy
is
Garrick?
Dominion Spy.
Garrick wasn't a
Garrick.
Dominion spy. He was a tailor, just a plain, simple tailor. Plain,
Is
simple
this Star
Garrick.
Trek?
I'm totally. I love Lou Welch.
Lou
I
Welch,
think
that's
that's
a
probably
good.
my
That's a good
favorite
one.
character.
Yeah,
Lou
that's a
Welch,
good one.
The
That's a
hero
good
we
one.
need, the hero
love
we
Lou.
deserve. Lou Welch. John, who do you think?
I'm ride or die for Veer.
Veer.
Oh.
Veer is not in the opening credits yet. He will be. Or maybe he may be in season 2. I don't
In
know.
my
No,
in my DVDs, he is in
he
season
isn't.
2. Yeah.
Okay, so try
He is
again.
in season 2.
Try again, John. He wasn't in season 1. I knew that.
Well, I mean, I don't want to pick the same as Justin, but Lou is also my dude. But is Lanier in the credits?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You
And so is
are failing
Natoth.
terribly.
Even
I
though
don't
we've only
have
seen
this.
Natoth like twice this season, she's in the credits too.
Yeah.
Come back to me. Let me think on it real quick.
All right, Jessi.
I like the Monkey Man Bartender.
Monkey Man Bartender. I like it. From The Gathering. He's got the little flight helmet and everything else.
Yes. He got a little mouthpiece and everything.
Emily.
I don't have one.
Okay. Andrew.
Morden.
Morden. Yep, Morden's definitely not in the
Oh.
credits. That's true.
That's
I'm
a good one. That's a good one.
Who picks the bad guy?
I'm going to say one that has only appeared a couple times, but when he does, it's just because I recognize him from so many other things, and that is Zach Allen, played by Jeff Conway.
Mm.
Every time
yeah.
I see Jeff Conway, though, it's such a sad. I just get depressed.
That's true.
But
That
then
is
John,
Yeah.
who picks the bad guy? You do.
Who's the bad guy?
Londo.
Not the bad guy.
Londo's
I'm
the
not-
bad guy.
I'm not going to hear this heresy.
Have you
He's not
figured
the-
out who you're going to pick yet, John?
No, I don't know. I'm going to go with, what is the name? Lee, the Centauri statue.
Lee, the goddess of passion. I can see that.
Yeah.
Blake, what about you? Favorite character not in the opening credits? At least for seasons 1 and 2.
I was about to say because I can't answer
I know.
that.
I know.
Actually, I can. I think. One of the background crew on the command and control bridge,
Oh, yes. Yes, the guy who talks to Ivanova every now and then. Mhm.
and who is not named at this
Great.
point.
Yeah, not named. That is correct.
Oh.
Am I the only one who thinks he looks like Rob Stark?
I don't know who Rob Stark.
It's been-
Oh, Game of Thrones. That
Game of
show's dead
Thrones.
to me.
Richard Madden.
That show's dead to me.
It's been bothering me for a while, and I've been wanting to know if anyone else.
So Blake is referring to the character who is usually in CNC, and he is, if he has any lines, he's talking to Ivana about what's happening.
And also clearly gave a Kevin level spoiler that we're going to get this dude's name and he's going to be in the credits or something. At least he's clearly somebody now. So I guess I'm going to be watching out for what the fuck he talks about.
Right now, he's just telling you what the ships are doing, so it's okay.
I got my eyes on him.
Let's see.
Great, now I know a ship's about to dock.
Could be important. Look at the gathering. There was a ship, maybe docked, maybe not docked, threw out a little transpo, put in a changeling net. See, Andrew, stuff, everything means everything on this show. I don't know if you've heard Scott say it a billion times, that you have to watch out for all the Easter eggs that I will never catch because no one ever tells us anything on this fucking show.
We're not supposed to tell you. Hey, Martin, to your comment in the chat, the newbies are on season 2, episode 11 right now. So that's where they're at in terms of the storyline. Let's see. Tim is there a character from The Gathering who is still in the show that you didn't like, who you like now? And I think we've already said Ivanova. So anybody else in that? Oh no, Ivanova wasn't in The Gathering. I'm sorry. So is there somebody who is in The Gathering who is still in the show that you didn't like that you like now?
Garibaldi.
Garibaldi. Good answer. Good answer.
You remember back to July.
Right. Watch me piss the whole chat off. Sinclair.
Well, Sinclair's not. Well, I guess he is in the show. Yes, he is in the show.
Yeah.
You guys saw him a few
I mean-
episodes ago.
And I did not care for him
He had his moment.
most of season 1.
I don't think I liked Londo at first, did I?
No, you didn't. Well, this is
Yeah.
the interesting thing, and I can start saying this because you guys have seen how the arc is going. I love that in The Gathering, if you watch that as a newbie, as you guys did, Jakar is the bad guy. Flat out. He is the mustache twirling bad guy. He's trying to screw Lita. He is trying to cause trouble. That's what he does. We end with the joke about him having the robot in his stomach and beep beep. And Londo is the buffoon. Londo is talking about how the Centauri Republic used to be a thing and now we're a tourist attraction. And he's always drunk in the casino. It's amazing how these characters have evolved, and we're only in season 2.
Even seeing that or even saying that, right? So Jakar now, because I just watched it earlier today because I knew we were going to do this. The different viewpoint I have watching Jakar's actions now, knowing not only him, but the Narn and having all the other backstory, it all makes sense. Like what seems like the villain at the time is really just him trying to do right by his own people, which is a species that has been dominated, enslaved, which he wasn't a big fan of, Delenn mentioning, for like 100 years, and is now trying to help his people get back to a place of respectability. All he's trying to do is get alliances going. He's trying to, I think when I watched Jakar this time, I had a far different opinion of him. And I still love Londo because he was dope then, he's dope now. But
you keep saying that you love Londo, but Jakar is such a genuine soul. Like he's just such a you can tell that he rides for his people. He's absolutely genuinely him. Londo is the exact opposite. And you keep going to bat for this dude, and this dude keeps doing the wrong things over and over and over.
Is he the exact opposite though? I would say so. I agree with what you're saying about Jakar, but I would say the exact same thing about Londo. He's all about his people. Because everything he does, and he's mentioned it, it's just about Centauri, right? To Scott's point, we talked about his little speech. He's disappointed that the Centauri Republic has fallen off as far as it has. He's worried about his grandpa's misdeeds being laid bare because it will hurt him, which in turn, because he's the ambassador, will hurt Centauri's purpose. I mean, everything he's done, is there a shade of selfishness in it? Sure, but it's still
100%.
It's still to promote the Centauri people. It's still because we mentioned this in, what was it? I think it was the Shadows episode. He could have, if he wanted to, just been the Emperor. If all he really cared about was himself, he could have picked the hot wife and stuck with her. He could have still called on Morden and been Emperor and ruled Centauri Prime. Right? He could be sitting in Centauri Prime right now in that dope castle, just running shit.
If he wanted to die.
But knowing that but if that's all he cared about, if his sole focus was just himself, then that he could have done that. But instead, again, he cares about Centauri people, and there's goodness in it. I have to believe it.
So we're about an hour 10 into the live, and we promised Grandpa Justin it would be about an hour. So we're going to do the lightning round now, okay? I'm going to ask you a few questions, and it's the lightning round, guys. So speedy. First off, from Tim, what's the biggest surprise or expectation you had from the pilot that is different than you thought while watching the pilot? So what is the expectation you had when watching The Gathering that is now changed?
Takashima being there.
Okay.
Jakar being the villain.
Good one. Emily?
I don't remember what I expected.
Excellent.
I like it.
I'm also going to say Jakar being the villain.
Justin?
And I'll join in the Takashima bandwagon.
Cool. Next question. What is your favorite book, any genre? And that comes from Dominion Spy.
Ooh. War of the Worlds, H.G. Wells.
Okay. Blake, you can answer this one too.
Probably not one a lot of people have heard of, but Anne Rice's son Christopher did a few books, and Density of Souls is a really good one.
Are they vampire books or just not?
No.
Okay.
Founding Brothers, Joseph P. Ellis.
Nice. I haven't read it fully, but I've seen it. Emily?
I like the new Jim Crow. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Who wrote that?
Melissa Alexander.
Nice. Okay.
That was a good book.
Emily?
Damn, that's a hard one. I can't pick one. You
read a lot of books. Emily has a reading club on Facebook that I joined and never really did.
I do. I have my own like little reading thing, and my goal for this year is $100. I'm a little behind. My current book is slowing me down.
Andrew.
Clockwork Orange, Anthony Burgess.
Okay. I'm going to say Rendezvous with Rama by Arthur C. Clarke, and I actually love that series. And it's the other three are written by Gentry Lee and Arthur C. Clarke, but Rendezvous with Rama, Rama 2, Garden of Rama, Rama Revealed. Great series. Okay. Let's see.
Mine wasn't really a series. Sorry. That's just my favorite book.
Oh, you're good. No, it was actually, he asked what book it was, but I changed it.
Okay.
Dominion Spy, who actually answered the question, said their favorite book is the Foundation series by Isaac Asimov. I would love, Dominion, to know how you feel about the Foundation TV show on Apple, because I have thoughts. But this is lightning round, so I won't say them now. Let's see. Neil says maybe we should do a bonus episode where you put Londo on trial. Jessi is the prosecutor. John is the defense. Ooh. We can go back to our MIG days.
Interesting.
We can do a moot court, guys.
Yes, I like
this
it.
idea. We can get
I'm in.
I would totally be that role.
we all got gavels, man. We can have some fun with this.
If the hair don't fit, you must have quit, Jessi. You can't.
Let's do it.
Okay. Martin says, I love how the newbies thought you could fight the Vorlon fleet in the pilot. Or maybe the characters thought they could fight the Vorlon fleet.
Had more didn't figure out that.
Craig asked, do you guys watch the 4K version? There isn't really a 4K version per se, Craig, but most of the newbies are watching the remastered version. Although I know Justin and Emily have the DVDs, which are the older version, and Andrew has the DVDs as well too. Which, I mean, there's no difference in the cuts, but the remastered are the better quality ones for sure. Let's see. And Adam says his favorite book is The Magician. Okay, Blake in the chat said Stephen King's The Shining is a close second. Thanks, Blake. Martin says The Good Beer Guide. The Good Beer Guide.
I like him. I like Martin.
David says, what is your favorite Kubrick movie?
Oh, God damn it.
Lightning round. So just give me the movie. Andrew, what's your favorite Kubrick movie? Come on. Lightning round.
Eyes Wide Shut. Eyes Wide Shut.
Eyes Wide Shut. Justin.
2001.
John.
Yeah.
Full Metal?
Full Metal Jacket. Jessi.
Yeah.
I don't even know who he is.
That's fine. Emily.
Say The
Emily's
Shining
on her
and
phone
Bond.
looking up IMDb.
I
had to Google what he's
The Shining?
done because I don't fucking know.
Blake?
But I do love The Shining.
Oh, I
the
like The
one
Shining
I
too.
don't have to fucking watch.
I was going to say the first half of Full Metal Jacket, because then it falls off the fucking rails when they leave boot camp. Or AI, because Steven Spielberg saved it after Kubrick died. There you go. Let's see.
Andrew dies a
Did
little
he,
bit
though?
inside each time.
David says the fire Scott up. You did. I'm good. Neil says his favorite book is World War Z by Mel Brooks' son.
That's a great one.
And
That's a
actually, Neil, World War Z, and it had a lot of writers, so I'm not saying this was the main writer, but World War Z, the movie script, was written by JMS, partially.
Listen, I wouldn't have brought that up because the movie was fucking terrible. The book was amazing.
But World War Z's audiobook is
yeah,
the best.
But the World War Z, the book, would be hard to make into a movie because it's an anthology in the book.
It should be a Netflix series, and
That's
it would
true.
be fucking amazing. It would be amazing.
But if you're going to have a movie, you had to have a through line, which is why you had the through line. But yeah, but JMS actually helped to write that script. I don't think he had the hand in the final script, though. I don't think. Let's see. Craig says iTunes version. Yeah, Craig, the iTunes version was updated to the remastered version, right, Blake? Because that's what you have.
Yes.
So that's the remastered version. Tim, and this is a lightning round, guys. And John, I know you already answered this. Lightning round. What do you think the Vorlons are up to?
Bullshit.
Fuckery.
Justin.
Nothing.
Saving the galaxy.
Andrew.
Nothing.
Jessi.
Saving the galaxy.
Okay, so we got two bullshits from Emily and John, nothing from Andrew and nothing from Andrew, and Jessi and Justin are saying saving the galaxy. Well, at least one or more of you are wrong. Okay.
To be fair, Emily said
Sounds
fucker.
wrong.
Yeah, no, I
said
said
fuckery.
fuckery
That's
and bullshit.
Very
You're right.
different.
You're right. Let's see.
Very different.
Martin, lightning round again. Star Trek or B5?
Which Star Trek?
That's what I was thinking too.
DS9.
Emily says DS9. Emily, Emily, Blake and I have been discussing this. We have plans for D Space Nine. We have plans.
Check it out, Jessi. I said which Star Trek as if I've watched like any of them.
Right, I've never seen a single Star Trek.
Just to fuck with them.
B5.
Well, I watched a little The Next Generation because it was on whatever.
Sure, that was on when we were kids all the time.
I watched it when I went to sleep. It was on late at night, and I would turn it on, and Star Trek would be the thing that lulled me to my dreams.
Which one had Frodo in it? Because that's my favorite.
Oh, God. Andrew, Star Trek, because Andrew has been rewatching Star Trek or Babylon 5?
Of the Star Trek I've seen right now, Babylon 5.
Okay. Andrew, you're in TNG, correct?
Do what?
You're watching TNG right now. You've watched the original series.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I'm currently starting TNG.
Justin, Star Trek or
Battlestar
B5?
Galactica.
Smart. Blake?
It depends on the day, but I will say for those that do want to hear our thoughts on Star Trek tomorrow morning at, I believe it's 9 Central, we will be doing, Scott and I, a live review of Picard Season 3, Episode 2. So hop on over and join us tomorrow morning for those that want to hear our thoughts on that.
And I will say, I'm with Blake. It depends on the day, but I will tell you my 3, and this should tell you everything you need to know, my 3 favorite shows of all time: Babylon 5, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and The West Wing. Let's see. Rafe says the Vorlons are stealing cable.
Because they're bitches.
I think they're saving everyone, and you just don't know it yet.
They deserve free cable.
Sweet ass time to do it.
Craig,
I think they're like Marvel's watchers. They're just kind of there.
okay.
Thank you.
Those in the chat, last call. If you have questions, last call. So Craig says, also loving the B5 attention, guys. Thanks. Yeah, we're it's like we were talking about this with the other podcast. There's like been 3 kind of eras of B5. There was when B5 was out and for the first time. Then there was a resurgence in the early 2000s, and the big podcast I think back then was the Babylon podcast, which we've had Tim and Summer on our shows, and then the audio guide to B5. But then I think when COVID hit, and right now with the reboot, we're like in the third age of Babylon 5. So there's a lot of good Babylon 5 content right now. Jeffrey, most of these guys have not seen Crusade, so their thoughts on Crusade is going to be, what's that? Blake, you want to give your non-spoiler thoughts on Crusade real quick?
No.
Okay, I'm the same way. No. We may or may not get to Crusade. Crusade was a spin-off of B5. We may or may not get to it. Okay.
Like an actual spinoff? Like it's in the same universe?
Yes, it is a spinoff. After season 5, there was actually several spinoffs. We'll get into it. Martin, yeah, they have not seen what you're talking about yet. Let's see, Tim, what is your favorite ship from the show that you have seen so far? What is your favorite ship?
Ooh, Vorlons. I love the
Vorlon ship?
flowery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of the bio-looking ship with the big gun. Yeah. Emily, what's your favorite ship from Babylon 5?
I do like the Vorlon ship.
John?
I mean, I kind of, and maybe this is the Star Wars coming, but I kind of like what I just call the Babylon 5 X-Wing.
The Star Fury.
Yeah, I'm a fan of it.
What's the big ship, the big one?
Babylon 5?
The Agamemnon was Sheridan's ship.
Agamemnon, yeah, that one. I like that.
That's the pretty one for the Earth Alliance. It's got it's got the gravity spinner and everything. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, being a Star Destroyer guy, I like the Agamemnon too. I like the big battle cruisers.
And she just came back for us in All Alone in the Night. For a few moments, we got to see her again. There's also a $400 Lego set for the Agamemnon. If anyone wants to get it for me, I would appreciate it. Andrew, favorite ship from Babylon 5?
Either the Star Fury or the, what did Nicole call them? The creepy spider murder ships.
The creepy spider murder ships. Okay. Blake, favorite ship that you've seen so far?
I'm gonna agree with the Star Fury because it's one of the most realistic spacecraft depicted in sci-fi.
NASA actually reached out to JMS and asked if they could use his ideas from the Star Fury, the production crew's ideas from the Star Fury, in some of their designs, because it is, up until we got to the Expanse, it was the most physics ship you could find, like just how it moves.
While you're looking at that, so Lego did they make just that one Babylon 5 set?
It's not Lego. It's like a generic Lego set. It's somebody made it. I don't think there's ever been a Lego Babylon 5 set. Revell made a model that one of these days I'm gonna put together. Okay. Again, lightning round. Favorite '90s TV show, Justin.
Oh shit. Probably Family Matters.
Andrew.
What was it? Favorite
'90s TV show.
You can't ask
Friends.
Andrew that.
Yeah,
Fuck
he wasn't
you,
even
Friends.
born.
Andrew was sperm in the
Got it?
'90s. Jessi.
You got it?
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, that's a good one. Good pull, John.
Ooh. Well, Andrew kind of took my friend's comment. So did it have to air or start in the 90s?
It says '90s TV show. It's all it says.
Well, The West Wing started in the 90s, so I'll take that one.
Mm-hmm. Emily.
Home Improvement.
That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Look at Taylor Thomas.
Yeah.
That's a good
Come
one.
on.
Yeah, you had a thing for Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Hell yeah, I did.
Like
Yeah,
everyone else.
everybody did.
Blake.
ABC's TGIF lineup, though, you just can't beat any of that.
ABC
yeah,
just
it
knocked it out of
was
the
the
park for
best.
years. That's true.
Mhm.
Blake,
I miss it.
favorite '90s show.
Either the TGIF lineup or Sequest.
Sequest is a good one too. I've already mentioned my 3 favorite shows are from the '90s, but I'll pull another one: Space Above and Beyond. I loved Space
Yeah,
Above and
that
Beyond,
was a good one.
and it got canceled after 1 season. I was so pissed. Let's see.
Ooh, you know what? The King of Queens, I think, technically aired in the 90s too, and I love that show.
The dumbest show
Oh,
ever.
I don't think
Seinfeld.
that was 90s.
Okay, moving
You know
on.
what, Jessica?
Moving on. Favorite non-aligned alien, which means not a major alien civilization. So not Earth, Centauri,
Oh.
Minbari, Narn. What's your favorite alien you've seen?
The Streebs.
The Streebs. We just saw the Greys. Okay.
Drazi.
The Drazi. Purple. Go green. Purple. Green.
I think I'm gonna go. Was it Pak Mara?
The Pakmara. The
Yeah,
carrion
the
eaters.
Pakmara.
Okay. And Emily?
Nagrath. I like the little
McGrath.
mantis.
Blake?
With the biker vest.
Wait, Bootleg Jabba the Hutt?
No, I like the mantis alien.
Pizza the Hut.
Pizza Hut. The Hut's cool.
Blake?
The fish ambassador lady.
From Deathwalker.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I'm also going to go with the Drazi because they are big, dumb, and they're everywhere. But it's, honorable mention to Pakmara.
Yeah, Pakmara, the ones that eat people, right?
Yes, the
Dead
carrion
people.
eaters.
Yeah.
Dead people.
Favorite Babylon 5
Monsters.
sing-along. And there's been a couple. Favorite song from Babylon 5 so far.
Pokey
Uh,
pokey.
Hokey Pokey, yeah.
Yeah,
Hokey
hokey
Pokey.
pokey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say the one that Jakar sings to his food.
Oh, that was.
I don't even remember what
I
that
I
forgot.
don't
was.
remember that.
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
I remember the scene. I don't remember the episode.
David, we did the favorite okay, last one. And by the way, Guardian Al, and that's the first time I've seen Guardian in the chat, so hello, Guardian, says King of Queens started in 1998.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
So last one. This is the last question, and then we'll do wrap up. So last question, lightning
Let's
round.
go.
Favorite guest actor. So somebody who has only appeared once, because Bester's technically a guest, and so is
Oh,
Morden,
okay.
but we're gonna get
Okay.
those gone. So favorite a character who has only appeared once.
The
Winnie.
guy from the Grail episode.
Which one? There was 2. David Warner or Booker.
The guy who took over for him. The guy.
Tom Booker.
Yeah.
Jigsaw.
Jigsaw.
Yeah,
hmm Andrew.
That's not my choice. That's not my choice. I was just, probably Deathwalker.
Deathwalker. J'adore the Deathwalker. John.
Shoot. I think I would say Lando's wife. The one
Which
he
one?
chooses.
Which
The one
one?
he chooses.
Okay. Yep. Emily.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with John on this one.
Okay. The wife that didn't try to kill him. Jessi.
Winnie from Wonder Years.
Okay. Vera's cousin. Got it. Blake.
W. Morgan Shepherd, the Soul Hunter.
The Soul Hunter. Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh yeah.
Jessi, did you only like her because it's Winnie? Is that why?
I
That's
liked Winnie a lot.
100% why I liked
When
her.
Emily was dogging on Jonathan Taylor Thomas, I was absolutely going for
Winnie Cooper.
Danica McKellen. Oh God. Oh, McKellen.
Do you watch Impractical Jokers?
I want to be her.
Who said yes? Did you see the episode with Danica? Because it's like Mer's like childhood crush, and she shows up on the episode. No, okay, great. So I'm just gonna flail in the dark. I'm gonna spend the next 20 minutes.
So my answer, my
talk
answer,
about Impractical Jokers.
Okay, my answer, because this is still the lightning round, is David Warner's character from Grail. Although, as I mentioned when we reviewed Grail, I have an affinity for Jinxo as well too. But David Warner's character from Grail. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up there, guys. Let's go ahead real quick, and because this is what we usually do at the show, we're gonna do one prediction from our newbies. One prediction. Could be anything. Could be what's going to happen next week. It could be what happens in season 5. One prediction. Justin, what is your one prediction?
Mars wins the World Series.
Okay. Andrew, what is your one prediction?
Earth Alliance gets overthrown.
Overthrown. Okay. By whom?
I think because we've watched up to
All Alone in the Night.
All Alone in the Night.
It was what we recorded, yeah.
So yeah, the little coup,
the cabal or whatever you want to call it. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yep, I got you. John.
I think Ivanova dies.
Ivanova dies. Ivanova dies. Okay.
Listen, I think I'll make this very quick. I think a main character has to die. A show like this has to have some stakes. And I don't think they'll go through another captain. I mean, they could, but they've already gone through one. I think it has to be somebody who like has an impact. I would say Lanjo or Jakar, but because not that you guys are giving away spoilers, but because so many people like those two characters and Scott, it's his story. Like I think they're going to last. So I don't think it could be either one of them. I don't think it would be Delenn. I think I'm looking for characters who have the most impact, and Ivanova's like the last one who I think would be the most impactful character whose death would really mean something. Mm-hmm. So I think she's going to die.
Okay. Emily, prediction.
I'm really not sure. I feel like there's a lot of possibilities, but nothing is really feeling like, oh, that seems really plausible or logical.
Say Delenn and Sinclair have cute babies.
Get your tinfoil.
No, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jakar has like one or two popping up at some point.
Shakar has fun. Okay. Jessi, prediction.
Delenn gets her spot on the Grey Council back.
Okay. Blake, what's your prediction for Grey 17?
This is already blown past.
We're all going to kill each other by the end.
Yeah. Somebody's going to kill somebody on this podcast. My money's on Andrew at the moment.
Yep.
This has seriously exceeded any expectation Scott or I ever had. We wanted to do this and rewatch this with a group of people who were our friends who had never seen this. And we've been at this a little over 6 months, and we've had the opportunity to interview cast members that we never thought we would get. We've got an insane amount of listens. I think Scott pulled it up earlier and did the math on it. People have listened to us or watched us on YouTube for around 2.5 years worth of content. And I think if anybody would have told us at the start of this that, 6 months in, part of the way through season 2, people would have listened to 2.5 years of our bullshit, that we would have went, no, that not us. But so I have no predictions at this point. We've exceeded anything we ever thought we would do.
I will predict that at least once, and I'm being very conservative, at least once you all will have an oh shit moment that will make you love this series more than you do already. And by that I mean the newbies. You'll have at least one more time where you will just go, holy shit, this thing is awesome. And I can think of like 10 in my head right now that you haven't seen yet. I want to say thank you to everyone in the chat. We've had nearly 100 people come and go throughout this, so this has been great. We really do appreciate it. And then also I want to thank all of our hosts, those who are here and those who are not, we're about 7 months in now. So we're halfway through the first year and we're halfway through season 2. It's been a really fun ride. And to Blake's point, none of us thought it would get this big. We will be crossing 75,000 watches and listens by next week. 75,000. So it continues to grow, and we still got 3.5 seasons to go. And so it's been great. And I want to take a moment to, because this is still the 30th anniversary, to thank J. Michael Straczynski and all the cast, the crew, and everyone associated with Babylon 5, because I don't think any of you thought that this would be around 30 years from now, not to mention that people like us would still be talking about it, and that just says a lot about you all and the amazing work that you did. So happy 30th to Babylon 5, and here's to the next 30 years. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Hi, everybody.
Bye, thanks.